Life Over Coffee. Conversations for transformation.
Hello everyone, Rick Thomas here with Life Over Coffee. You can find me in my coffee shop. The street address is lifeovercoffee.com. I'm working through my 31-day devotional called Living Boldly. This devotional was written for young folks, but these topics that I'm sharing, they apply to all of us. And so this is day 3. And what I want to share with you is going to be a news flash. So I want you to brace yourself, but the title of this chapter, day 3, Parents Are Not Perfect. Did you know that? Now, of course, for young people who are working through this devotional, this may hit just a little bit too close to home. Learning to accept that your parents aren't perfect, well, that could be one of your biggest challenges in life. It took me a while to come to that place. It's easy to agree that nobody's perfect. I mean, we would say that. That could be a bumper sticker or something that you put on your t-shirt. Until those imperfections of someone directly affect you, meaning in your home, in your house, in your family, in your life, talking about your parents. One of the most painful lessons that I had to learn as a young adult was to accept my parents' shortcomings. Our children are no different than the way I was with my parents. Our children live with imperfect parents, which is not a justification. It's just a fact of reality. No matter what your parents have been to you, I know they've been imperfect, and I'm not justifying that. I'm not saying that is okay. I am just saying that that is a reality of life. To expect perfection from anyone, including your parents, is a setup for disappointment. That is why you don't want to become like the man in the temple that day, which is the verse, by the way, for day 3 here. It's Luke chapter 18, verse 11, where the self-righteous man was looking down on the individual, and he said, God, I thank you that I'm not like other men, as he was looking down on this individual. What I wanted from my parents didn't match who they were as fallen individuals. I didn't understand that my desire for them to change, it couldn't override the reality of their unique struggles, their personal baggage, their shaping influences, which had nothing to do with me. They brought all that into their marriage and into their eventual family with their children. They had no mentors, they had no guides, they had nobody to guide them. They were like me. We're caught in the confusion of life without Christ. That's where they were. But this strong desire for them to be something other than what they were, nothing could override that. I wanted them to change. I did not like their imperfection. Ironically, I expected them to be good people while I was blind to my own selfishness and sin. It's kind of like the man in the temple. God, I thank you that I'm not like those people or that person over there. Imagine an angry teenager saying, God, I thank you that I'm not like them, not seeing that we're very similar. I was blind to my own selfishness. I was blind to my own sin. Now, looking back, I realize I should have pitied my parents instead of responding with anger. But my self-absorbed, entitled, and these demanding that people be different than they are or they were, it rarely shows compassion to others. Other people who are more like us, or in this case, more like me than unlike me. It wasn't until my early 20s that I stopped to consider why I had been so angry with them. I want to share with you 4 reasons that I was angry with my parents. Not to justify my anger, would not do that at all. Number 1, life was overwhelming. As a youth, life was moving too fast for me to process. I couldn't handle everything happening around me. Instead of slowing down and seeking help, I just lashed out. Don't be that person. Don't do as I did. Number 2, my parents were fallen people. Like all of us, my parents were faithful to their Adamic natures. They weren't Christians at the time, and their behavior was consistent with who they were. I was actually expecting them to be something that they could never be. I expected more from them than they could give. By the way, even if they were believers, they would continue to be imperfect. Now again, I need to check out the log in my own eye before I go speck fishing with my parents, and maybe some of you need to do similarly. Number 2, my parents were fallen people. Number 3, my mind was chaotic. I had a lot of internal soul noise. The noise inside of my head was deafening. My thoughts were like a busy intersection where too much was happening at the same time, leaving no space for clarity, for charity, for grace. Blind to your own blindness is the worst kind of blindness. And because I was drowning in a chaotic mind, I was not focusing rightly on what is really going on. I spent more time judging them than judging myself. Number 4, I wanted escape, not change. I just wanted to find the door. Wasn't interested in any kind of reconciliation or restoration. My goal was to leave home rather than seek personal growth that the challenges held out for me. I thought physical distance would solve my problems. Guess what? It didn't. You carry who you are, wherever you go. The goal is to realize that it's less about them and it's more about me. In this case, this may apply to you. Your parents are not perfect, and so the goal is to realize that this is less about them, more about you. And again, I'm not justifying anything that they have done, but you can only work with the person who is willing to be worked with, and that should be you. A friend once told me, your attitude will affect your altitude. You can soar with the eagles or you can cluck with the chickens. Now, it sounded like something from a bumper sticker, but he's right. Blaming others for my struggles was a recipe for bitterness. I had to stop playing the victim card and take responsibility for what depended upon me. By the way, that's Romans chapter 12, verse number 18. You do everything that you can do that depends upon you. This is day 3 of my 31-day devotional. The title of it is Living Boldly, and you can find that book in our store at lifeovercoffee.com. The title of this particular devotion, chapter 3, Parents are not perfect.
Thanks for joining us. Learn more and get access to other resources at lifeovercoffee.com.